I'm basically going to talk to you about how our wages work in this country and how our NHS works, etc, etc. What month's this? That's 2009. Oh, that's probably the newer one. Yeah, okay, so there's two different wage slips here. I've got one with overtime and one without any overtime, and one when I've got a pay rise and when I haven't got a pay rise. Right, so on the 15th of the 1st, my pay rate was that, 338, yeah. And on the 25th of the 5th, our pay rate, because we've just got a pay rise, is that now. Okay, it's basic pay. Now, we have a thing called income tax. So let me explain income tax. Income tax is an amount of money that is paid basically back to the government, the Inland Revenue, which is part of the Queen, the government, and paying the bonds basically. The bonds back to the bank for the massive great big loan that the government takes out. So that's basically our contribution to the government funded pot that the government spends money. Okay, the money that the government spends on education, you know, education, all these things that are to do with, you know, acts and things that the Parliament do. That fund funds that, so it pays for our councils to mow the lawns, it pays for our bins to be emptied and things like that. Well, that actually comes under another tax, but that, you know, our roads get fixed, etc, etc. Everything is taxed in a way that if you use it, then you pay a tax. But the income tax is tax that goes to the government, basically, and to the Queen, if you like, the Inland Revenue. Now, my gross pay on this particular week was £382.12. Now up here, because America, they do things differently. You do it yearly, don't you? You don't do it weekly or monthly. We pay our income tax as we earn it. It actually makes a bit more sense. And I wouldn't want a big fucking bill at the end of the month. Tell you that much. Now, if you can see here, there's a thing here. That, I've just got to hide my national insurance number. There's a number there that says 0659L. Okay, that means that's my tax code. That means I can earn £6,559 a year without paying tax. 6590. So £6,590 a year without paying tax. So if I divide that by 52, because I get paid weekly, I can actually earn £126.73 every week without paying anything in income tax. Okay, everything after that, so £126, £382 minus £126 means that £260 of my wages is taxable, and I pay, on this particular week, I pay £47.40, so it's actually about 23% after the free pay. Okay, and you get that free pay entitlement every week. So if you don't work one week, you don't pay tax the next week on 2 weeks of that, so you wouldn't pay tax for £250 worth. That's how it works. Okay. The other thing we have is called national insurance. The first £54 of your earnings, so ignore the tax, we're going back to gross pay again. The first £54 of your earnings, you pay £1.08 at, I think it's like 1% or something like that. Now, national insurance is currently at 10%, so you pay 10%, I don't even think it is at 10%, to be honest with you. Can't be at 10%, it must be about 8%, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be about 8-9% at the moment, because I paid £25.34 national insurance. Okay, now that £23.34 that I pay every week, depending on what I earn, pays for my pension when I get older. It pays for my education if I want to go to college, if I want to do university, etc, etc. It also goes towards dental. It goes towards any drugs that I need from the chemist. We pay a blanket charge, so it doesn't matter if you pay one charge for each item. So if you've got 5 things you've got to pick up from the chemist, excuse my hands, they're quite dirty, I've got ink all over them because a fucking pen exploded, long story. If you pay this blanket charge for 5 different items, you'd pay it for each separate one, unless it was a closed subscription. Which, you know, if it's a £200 drug, you're still going to get it for the blanket charge of £7.25 it is at the moment. So, but if you're going to go and buy a paracetamol, which costs 50 odd p, you're not going to want to pay £7.95 for it, are you? And that's where the NHS make a little bit of money sometimes, but 9 out of 10 times, most pharmaceuticals will say to you, no point presenting this prescription, we can sell you to that cheaper than the prescription blanket charge, right? Dentist. If I go to the dentist, I do have to pay a fee, but it's not much. Like if I went to visit the dentist and had a checkup, it'd probably cost me 20, 30 quid. If I had a fill-in, maybe 50, 60 quid, but it wouldn't be hundreds, yeah? We have got private dentists, but the Dentist National Health Service, you get free dental care until the age of 16, I think it is. Children don't pay for prescription drugs, old people don't pay for prescription drugs, and if you're unemployed, you do not pay for prescription drugs, and you do not pay for dental care. Now, because I've paid national insurance into the pot for however many years I have, if I lost my job today, I could go and claim housing benefit. And from housing benefit, I'd get £60 a week cash that I'd sign on and get that each week cash in my hand. They'd pay my rent and they'd pay my council tax. Council tax is tax on buildings for fire, police, emptying your bins, I can't remember what, street lighting and stuff like that. Comes under council tax. It's to do with the council's tax for amenities, okay, for litter pickers and things like that. So you pay a council tax or community tax on your house. Here, this 2-bedroom flat's 130 quid, but it's between the two of us. But if I was unemployed, the government would relieve me of that, right? So I'd have 60 quid a week to live on. Now, that would only effectively leave me probably 20 quid to pay on my bills with, but you could just about do it if you wanted to. It's not the best, but it's better than having nothing. When I hit 65, I get a government pension. Government pension is about 100 quid a week, I think, at the moment. You don't pay for prescription drugs, you don't pay for anything like that. You know, I don't go to, if I went to the hospital now with a problem, I wouldn't pay for anything. I wouldn't get a bill at the end of it. Oh, you owe us this much. No, I don't owe you anything actually. But no, you wouldn't get a bill for it. Even any drugs that you're administered while you're in hospital are free. You don't, you get a prescription for prescribed drugs for when you're at home. You don't pay for any drugs that the hospital will give to you there and then. Yeah, the doctors don't need to go and ring an insurance company. Go, oh, is it all right if we give someone major heart surgery today because they haven't paid income tax for, national insurance for 5 years? Yeah, no, there's none of that. You know, everyone's treated the same. And some people go, well, if someone never goes to work and never puts money into the pot, don't you think that's a trifle unfair? You know, if someone's been accident prone and broke this and broke that. No, that's just selfish. In my eyes, no one wishes an accident on anyone. And if you're going, oh, well, I ain't paying that money each week because he fucking sits on the dole when he's broke his legs 3 times, I've never had any milk. That's just selfish ignorance to me. And, it's just unbelievable. But that's basically how wages work in the UK. It's quite simple, really. At the end of the day, if I look at it here, my total deductions are £93.64. Well, £17.89 is to my private pension fund. So when I retire from Royal Mail, not that it's going to happen, I'd get like a lump sum of about 60 grand for paying into this private pension, and then I'd get like a £120, £130 pension off Royal Mail, as well as a £100 pension off the government. So I'd near enough have my wages again. And that's what the private pension scheme is, and that's what I'm paying into there. So in actual fact, 60, 70, my actual outgoings are about £73. So my gross pay on this particular wage slip is £310 if I wasn't paying the other things. So, I'm not being funny, but if I'm earning £400 and only paying £70 to the government in national insurance and income tax, it's not really that bad. It's all the other things on top of it, like that you pay, like when we get a car. I don't know in America if you get car tax. If I've got a car, I have to have an MOT, which is a motor order test. Basically, brakes work, body isn't hanging off, windscreen's not smashed, seat belts work, safety belts, whatever you want to call them. Tyres are not worn out, exhaust isn't emitting emissions into the atmosphere, it isn't, the exhaust is not damaged. And if it passes that, then you need to get road tax. And road tax can vary on the size of your car. If you've got a small car, you'll pay about 30 quid a year. If you've got a big 2-litre car, you'll pay £250 a year. And that's been done on purpose to get people to drive smaller cars. Well, luckily in this country, we do drive small cars in comparison to America, definitely.